Hi, this is Love Lies Leading Me Farm, meaning natural farm again. So this time I'm trying to explain it to you how I compost straw. So you see a lot of straw. I harvested the straw over there, and then they're here. So what I do is well, normally I don't do composting, but then the problem I'm facing right now is mold. So when I don't do composting, I spread everything onto the ground. I end up with a lot of worms, which is good, but then because of the worms, the moles will come and dig around. So in summertime, if they dig around, they'll kill some plants or vegetables because they don't eat the vegetable roots or anything like clovers. But then they'll destroy the root system, and then the plants will die of desiccation. So in any case, so let me show you how to compost straw. You see the straw over there has been sitting there from last summer to now, and nothing happens. They don't seem to decompose. So straws are very different from tree leaves because of the cell wall. Okay, tree leaves, they have cellulose, which is readily digested by a lot of bacteria and fungus. And then straw, they have a different kind of chemicals on the cell walls. It's called beta-glucan. It's not cellulose. It's called beta-glucan, which is difficult to digest by most of the bacteria. So what can digest this? Well, mainly fungus, but then fungus, the actions are very slow. They don't digest it very quickly, so it would take like 2 years. Well, it's too slow, so no one can wait for 2 years. So how can I make it faster? Well, there are videos saying that you can add fertilizer, especially nitrogen fertilizer, to your straw in order to digest it, in order to decompose it more quickly. But my method is even better because it doesn't cost anything. If you use commercial nitrate, it's bad for the environment. It will kill a lot of the microorganisms in the soil. On the top of it, you're wasting a lot of energy because they use a lot of energy to produce something like ammonium nitrate or some other forms of nitrate. So to save our environment, I'm doing it the most primitive but most effective way. So what do you add? Well, you add a lot of stuff. You can add anything. You can add coffee ground from Starbucks. You can add fish scrap, juice, whatever that is. And then you can add my secret weapon, my urine. So why do I want to add urine to it? Well, because urine contains a lot of urea. That's why it stinks and smells. Because urea will eventually be turned into ammonia. But ammonia is poisonous, toxic. But then the good thing about our ecosystem is that if you have a lot of ammonia, there are something called nitrifying bacteria. They will turn not just nitrogen gas into nitrate, but also urea and sometimes urea and ammonium into nitrate, which is a soluble form, which is non-toxic. And maybe nitrite. So what I do is to simply dump everything here. I don't need to dilute it because I want the concentrated urea to be absorbed by my straw, and then add a layer to prevent the smell. I need oxygen because if you don't have enough oxygen, the anaerobic bacteria will thrive, and it will produce a lot of foul smell. So the more oxygen you have, the more aerobic bacteria you get, and the aerobic bacteria, including some nitrifying bacteria, will be able to decompose everything more quickly. Otherwise, you'll end up with a foul smell and bad bacteria, which is not good for you and your family. So what it does is, well, the problem with straw is it's got beta-glucan as the cell walls, which is difficult to digest by bacteria. So I add nitrogen to it so that I have nitrifying bacteria, which will be utilizing not just the straw but some grass, which has a lot of nutrients in them. And the nitrifying bacteria will attract a lot of other kinds of bacteria to eat them. So some other bacteria will try to eat the nitrifying bacteria, and eventually you end up with a lot of bacteria and fungus inside. So the good thing about this, if you have a lot of bacteria and fungus inside the pile, then insects and worms will come to eat the bacteria. But then when they are trying to eat the bacteria, they are actually digesting not just the bacteria but also the straw. They break down the straw into smaller particles, which is easier for fungus to attack and digest it. So it will you make the process much faster. So instead of waiting for the straw to decompose over there, you're actually creating an environment that allows them to be decomposed much more quickly. Probably, I'm not sure because I haven't tried this before, but theoretically it should be correct. And also fish scrap. Don't forget about the fish scrap. Okay. Some people are worrying about the mold and bad bacteria, but then, as I've said, as long as you have oxygen, you end up with more aerobic bacteria than anaerobic bacteria, because the anaerobic bacteria, first of all, they were suppressed by oxygen. Second of all, they were eaten by other microorganisms. So this is how I compost straws. Bark. So a lot of people will use bark in their garden, but the bark is actually even worse than straw, because bark, the cell walls of bark is actually lignin. Lignin does not contain a lot of minerals. That's the problem. Right? So you want your compost to contain a lot of good minerals like calcium, and copper, maybe magnesium, iron, so on and so forth. But lignin is just the skin of the tree, which is used by trees to deposit waste material. So they don't deposit minerals in the bark. Right? There are a lot of toxic material, waste, and so on and so forth. Well, but it's not too bad because at least it will contain a lot of carbohydrates. But then, as I've said, if you only have something that is not cellulose, it's difficult to be digested by bacteria. So only, as far as I know, only fungus can digest lignin or the bark. So that's why it would take like at least 3 to 5 years for the bark to start to decompose. But then once the bark is starting to decompose, you attract a lot of dandelions, because dandelions, they don't mind a very bad soil, whether there is a lot of minerals or not. They don't care because they have taproot systems. So dandelions, false dandelions, they send taproot systems down to at least 2-3 feet down below to absorb minerals. So they would dominate the entire field if you only have bark. So in any case, I'm signing off. I'll see you next time. Bye.